Today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a pretty active upcoming pattern. It is going to be quieter for a little while, but we do have some big storms to talk about today. Now, before I get into things, be sure to check out Prestige Weather in the description and pinned comment down below. It's only $4.99 a month, and we really dive into weekly consulting calls with you guys that we offer for that very small price. You also get exclusive access to our community where we do early access to a lot of these videos. We do weekly forecasts for every region in the United States. And really, you're going to find a lot of beneficial features in there. We're always adding and trying new things. It's a really cool community. We've gotten really good feedback. Be sure to check it out in the top right corner of your screen, description, and the pinned comment down below. Now let's dive into things. First things first, we're taking a look at our GFS model's simulated radar right here, actually. And what you're going to notice is that we have this kind of southern jet at times moving in this direction where we see this pink color there. So you'll see a lot of precipitation at times trying to move through that region. And that's going to be the main driver for a lot of these nor'easters, southern slider type storms. And you can tell through the upcoming pattern, that is one of the more major features taking place. We also have this very strong Pacific jet kind of associated more with the northern jet, and it's doing mostly this. They're not moving directly onshore to the west. They're kind of moving northward and over. This northern jet is eventually diving back south. We're not seeing a lot of the storms make it through there, though, but that is the main track of this jet stream that we're seeing over the next 10 or 15 so days. But really, it's this southern jet that is really the main feature here, and it's coming from this El Nino moisture. And when we have El Nino, we have a lot of storms in this kind of equatorial region here along the equator. We see this pocket of a lot of storms moving mostly towards the west here. And they do kind of shift direction from time to time, but we mostly see this jet here, and then a lot of these kind of doing something like this and then moving straight up the coast there. A lot of the Pacific is what's driving our pattern here in the United States, but I think it's interesting to see this moisture crossing over Mexico into the Gulf of Mexico and then sliding either offshore there or up the coast. It depends when we take a look at this, but the storms are in general moving in this area, and this is very typical of an El Nino to see a lot of storm tracks like this, sometimes even further inland. But you get the point, mostly rising up from the southeast towards the northeast, or maybe even the Ohio Valley at times. Today we're mostly going to be talking about some storms that want to try taking a track like this when some cold air matches up in this area. This is what we've been talking about for a while now. Let's go ahead and dive into our weather bell model guidance, which is normally what we take a look at here. Here we are taking a look at more of what we're used to doing. And I really want to just dive through this. We do see that some upcoming storms to discuss are here. First off, through the central states, we have some showers and thunderstorms by Friday. Same story across the southwest and even the northwest. But again, a lot of these storms along the west are offshore, moving northward, not really coming onshore fully. That seems to be the trend over the next few days. We do see a couple of lows develop from this moisture coming in from the south, including Kansas here, where we start to see some snowfall throughout Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, Nebraska, the Dakotas as well, and then maybe even some thunderstorm activity underneath here for Texas and Oklahoma. As we move forward towards Monday afternoon here on the 25th, we can see that there is plenty of thunderstorm activity happening in here, showers as well, and then even some snowfall here across the upper Midwest and the plains. As we keep going, we see that the cold is eventually reaching into the eastern states as predicted after Christmas at some point. This model gets us there by about the 28th, 29th time frame. And we have a pretty good bottled up area of cold air here. And if we see a storm move across the south here, this would be a perfect southern slider scenario. Not seeing it line up yet, but these areas are primed for potential southern snowfall. Total precipitation over the next 10 days looks like this. We see plenty up and down the west coast there. Also across the central states as we see that storm line up, and then even a nor'easter later on taking place along the east coast. Total snowfall here, as you can see, pretty exclusive for the mountainous west. Pretty typical. We're going to kind of ignore that, but we do get a rising low moving up through the Midwest here, bringing some pretty substantial amounts there across the upper Midwest. We will have more on that storm for days ahead of now, we're going to be tracking this one. But for now, it looks like Missouri, Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, and Michigan, especially there in the Upper Peninsula, appear to be in the bullseye for this one. Blues are 2 to 6 inches, purples are 6 to 10, and then pinks are 10 to 20, so certainly a whole lot of snowfall is potentially on the way. Now, as we take a look at our ensemble models, we can see we get into a warmer pattern here. This really gives way to cold around the 29th here, seeing signs of a potential positive PNA out west as your jet stream is doing something like this on this model. So definitely warmth out west. And if we do get storms moving along this jet, this would result in potentially some southern snowfall. And that's been our trend of what we've been talking about for a couple of days. The cold sticks around, and I mean, we see some signals at potentially some storms in these blue areas below freezing. One there for kind of the mid-Atlantic and southeast. We get other rising storms here later on, January 3rd. Look, we have plenty of precipitation around on this ensemble model along that cold air for the southeast, Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, and even into the mid-Atlantic and northeast. And that's the trend here on your European ensemble model. Clearly, trough in the east is the trend here, as we see a pretty substantial signal here. And I'm going to take a look at our GFS ensemble model here and see if we get any agreement. But once we move on, we see that we do get that trough in the east around the 29th. So we also see it here. The only interesting thing is we do have a low offshore at the same time here on this GFS ensemble model. And we're seeing some snowfall signals here for the mid-Atlantic and northeast. We're going to have to track that over the coming days. It is far out, so take it with a grain of salt, but certainly something to watch for. And look, we get plenty of these blues popping up along the southeast, mid-Atlantic, and even up into the northeast at times. So certainly snowfall appears to be a possibility on these models, but trough in the east, ridge in the west here, that is the trend. And then storms moving along this southern jet, looking more like southern sliders and nor'easters. Again, let's look at the storm signals. So we get one there on the 29th. On the 30th, we have more deeper south potential snowfall in here. I'm seeing some signals in there around the 31st time frame. We keep going and we get other storm signals like here on the 2nd. And keep in mind, probably not all of these would end up happening. What we're seeing here is 30 plus models put together, and their mean average is what we're getting taken away here and seeing on screen. So if you have 10 of them showing a storm on the 30th, 10 of them showing a storm on the 2nd, 10 of them showing a storm on the 31st, you're not getting all 3 storms on a single model. It's just different groups of models showing storms at different dates. But the overall consensus here is that we're looking favorable for snowfall, snowstorms, and it is cold enough as well. And it starts to look more and more coastal actually as we get into that first week of January here. Look at that, mid-Atlantic and northeast seeing some blues. Certainly a good sign so far, and it's looking more and more snowy every single day we look at this. So for days to come, we're going to continue to look at this with you guys, track it, and see what ends up happening with all of this. I'm so excited to track it with you guys, and I hope you guys are as well. I wanted to address something. You guys were freaking out yesterday about the title, the 3333 title. Definitely an accident on my part. I titled the videos when I'm exporting them from my editing program in numbers so I can keep track of it. And I forgot to add the title. So it used the title of the file instead of what I put it in on YouTube. So it went ahead and uploaded. I scheduled it to upload, and that's the first time I've ever done that. So I don't know how. I think I've uploaded something like 2,000 videos around there. So absolutely wild that is the only time that's ever happened. I thought it was going to ruin the video. Honestly, when I first saw that the title was that, I was like, dang it, it's not a good title, obviously, 3333. It doesn't get any information across, but it was one of my most viewed videos recently. So you guys seem to definitely click on it and check it out and see what was up. So, hey, maybe we'll have a 4444 video in about a year from now. Who knows? Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe for more videos just like this one. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications. Be sure to also like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.